Okay, this is actually a hide step for a Jeep CJ. I actually got it on Marketplace for pretty cheap, so I want to try to make it work for my F250. So first thing we got to do is chop up, like any good welding project, we got to chop up some of this metal, and I'm going to reuse it. So here I chopped off a piece of that edge, and then that way it slides over there. And then what I did is I removed even more metal because I'm not going to need that. And start drilling some holes. Make sure everything matched up. Just got to weld these on. But first I'm going to take some of this galvanized zinc off the metal with vinegar before I start welding on it. Welding on zinc or galvanized is bad for your lungs. So you got to get all that off. Instead of grinding it off, I'm just choosing to use vinegar. We'll see how it turns out. All right, gonna go test fit it now. See, it just got some little tack welds on there. That way, if I need to make some adjustments, I can. See, it has to kind of go on evenly, which is fine. And then when it comes off, it's got to come off evenly, but it's hard to grab it from the back and make it come off evenly, especially with holding the phone. But there you go. That's the idea. And then I'll weld this to the other part. So now I got to weld this onto the other piece. For you, if you're curious about the backside. Get it in focus there. All right, I got it all welded up. I just need to knock down some of these high spots and then test fit. This pinch seam is flexing. But I have to make it. I have to make these fasteners come out the other way. This is just a fitment check. Just got them tacked in for now for fitment. I wanted to film myself fishing this through the square, but as you can imagine, I needed both hands to do this, or else I would have just dropped it inside of here somewhere. But that's kind of the idea, and then I'll be able to get the plate on, and then the nuts fasteners on, and these won't spin. Because at first I was like, oh, I'll just get a fastener or a bolt and stick it through each one of these, and then I'll tighten it up. But then if you did that, there's no way to really easily reach the back of the bolt so that you can fasten on the nut without the bolt spinning. So this is, I think, the best way, but yep, that's what it looks like here. Or that's how it's gonna go on. So I'll give you an idea of what I had to do is I basically fished this in through here, went in like this. With my other hand, I reached in through this bottom hole and then just kind of straighten it out from the backside and then went like that. So it's kind of a pain, but I mean, it works. All right, the hard part's done. And this thing is like, I mean, it's not going anywhere. I'm not getting any flex here at the pinch seam here. And yeah, I'm just moving the whole truck at this point. But I think what I'm gonna do is, it would just be, I like to overbuild stuff. So I'm thinking maybe from here to here, build a gusset, and then just kind of really make sure that I can put all my weight on this, and it's not gonna go anywhere, and this isn't gonna bend or anything. And then I think I'm gonna also do like a long washer instead of these washers. Just span that, just give it more support. And yeah, that's good. I'm gonna reinforce this piece here with this. Stack it. Oop. Stack it. And then plug weld it. See those holes? And that'll just give me extra assurance that when I'm tightening down these bolts, that these aren't going to snap off from this thin piece right here. All right, this piece is done. Just added that extra bracing on here so I can really tighten it down and it doesn't snap. All right, I got this brace welded in, and I also have it prepped for primer and paint. So, and I got this piece done as well. All right, I ran into a bit of an issue. So when I was fastening everything up, this is single sheet thin metal, whereas this pinch seam is double sheet. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to add a piece of flat stock to the back of this to give it some structure, and that way when I'm not fastening everything down, it won't start to bend or morph this thin sheet. So this will solve that problem. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on the outside of here, you'll see, but just to give it some extra strength. I don't think it needs it. It's already overbuilt, but I just want to be sure, because you know, as I use it often and then as I get older and fatter, it can hold the weight. There you go. That's kind of how it'll be installed, and that'll support fasteners being tightened down big time here. And then this is kind of what it looks like outside the vehicle. See that it's almost acting like a giant washer. And then what I do is I just fish it through this hole, and then I got to use both hands, but then I position it back there. That's what it looks like here. Okay. Like I said, overkill, but I don't want any problems. All right, these parts are dry, and looks like I missed a little spot here, so I'll go ahead and touch that up. I started using gloss black instead of a satin or a flat. I used to do satin flat for car parts, but I noticed that when you do this high gloss, dirt just does not want to stick. Mud and grime and all that doesn't want to stick to the glossy black, so I started switching to gloss black. But now that everything is dry, I'll go ahead and get this installed and try it out. All right, here's what the whole kit looks like. I got some blue Loctite, some fasteners, lock washers, the pins for the Hide step, and then the parts I fabricated. All right, I got these first two pieces in here. If I were to go back and do this again, I would make that supportive bar a little bit smaller, because I had to fish it through here, and you can see it kind of got marked up and knocked off some of the top coat. There's still primer underneath there, so it should be fine. And it's, as you can see, it's relatively dry and clean around here. You know, this is just dirt, but yeah, I mean, it stays pretty dry here, so I'm not too worried about it. And now it's on for this next piece to go in. All right, and then this is the piece that I made for reinforcing this pinch seam. just to give it a little bit more strength. It might be overkill, but you know, I'd rather it be overkill than underkill and have this pinch seam bending later on down the line. And then now I'm just gonna get some blue Loctite on here, my lock washers, and this is also gonna act like a washer as well. So before I had washers on here, and instead I went to this design because that way it could spread the load of the on the pinch seam and just help it out a little bit more. All right, here's what it looks like installed. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the Hide step on there. All right, here it is installed. As you can see, whole truck is shaking. That's not going nowhere. I just need to lube it up a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is solid. Very solid. Like that. As you can see, this is a big boot, you know, and there's just I left enough gap to get your boot in there. You could slide it in and then lift yourself up like that. And when you're done, it just goes up like that. Close the door. And then, you know, the whole idea of this thing was to, it's a Hide step. I didn't want to see the step and just keep the clean body lines of the truck itself, you know. See, it just kind of, everything disappears, you know. That's kind of the idea. And you open up like that. It's just exposed right there. Stick your boot in. And then you lift yourself up. Oh, that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice to get in. I was jumping in here before. All this damage, you know. But yeah. It's not totally hidden, but that's okay. You know, if there's not really a way to hide that step and still have access to it. But you know, here, let me back up. Yeah, that's just like, you can't, unless you're looking for it, you're not gonna see it. Again, you walk up. Open the door, I see it, slide my boot in, lift myself up. Oh, that's nice. Let's see it. All right. I hit my knee on the fuse panel right there just now. And then on the way down, if I want to, I could use it. But honestly, I mean, I just step down, just gravity. You know, this is, stepping up is the harder part. Stepping down, you know, I don't really need that. So up. And then of course, with my other hand, it'll be easier because this hand will be here, right hand will be on the steering wheel, and that'll be much easier to get in. Just like that. Yeah, that's nice. That's perfect. That's real nice. In, and then sit down. And then with two hands, it'll be much easier. Let me go widescreen here. Last one. Boot in. Sit inside. And because you guys have hung in this far, let's go ahead and end this with a 7.3 startup. Because we all love that 7.3 sound. Go ahead and wait to start. There you go. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice.